to Peter Byrne and told him the same thing. Peter thought Peter was out on the West Coast in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was probably, but he got a hold of Alan Berry, who was an investigative reporter working in California, and said, if you want to check this out, here's the story. So Al came down and interviewed us all separately and together, and he heard the sounds that we recorded, and he was looking for who could be pulling this off. He was an investigative reporter. He was trying to find the culprit here. Who's doing this?
Yeah.
Of course, at that time we hadn't had any of the studies done, obviously, on the sounds. We just wanted some attention, no understanding of what it was, because whatever they are, they're pretty unique.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alan got involved in it. He went up there and started experiencing it himself and recorded it. He's the one that fostered the studies at University of Wyoming on the sounds, showing that they were outside the human range and inside the human range. They just all over the spectrum of sounds.
Above and below the range of human.
Yeah, above and below.
Yeah.
And so humans can't do that, yet it was 2008, I think it was, when Scott Nelson, cryptolinguist, got a hold of him by accident. And he came all the way out from Missouri, where he's teaching foreign languages at college there. He retired from Navy as a cryptolinguist.
Yeah, so let's real quick, Ron, can you just give a quick synopsis of who you're talking about, the gentleman, his qualifications, who was doing the analysis, just real quick.
Sure. Dr. Curlin at the University of Wyoming did a year-long study on the sounds.
Okay.
He's the one that determined that. He wrote it in a book, Man Like Monsters on Trial, wrote a paper on it, and presented that to University of British Columbia at the 1978, I think it was, symposium up there. So that was a big hurdle, but it wasn't enough for academia to really swallow it, even though he's a professional and a professor of electrical engineering, shown that the tapes were not speeded up, they were not slowed down, they were actual real tapes. They had not been monkeyed with, no variance, nothing wrong with them. They were real. No 60-cycle hums when there would have been pre-recorded, re-recorded. Nobody's playing with you, because humans can't do that. The average human can't do it. And so, but that's, like I say, that was the first thing that we had done, or that Al had done. So that was
Logan.
So
real quick, we have a question that's right on the target. I think we talked about this Friday. I have Kevin Guthrie. Thanks, Kevin, for the question. It says, so it sounds as if the Bigfoot is speaking directly into the mic. And Ron, you spoke to Carter and I about this last Friday. What's your take on that? When people listen to the Sierra sounds, sometimes it sounds like it's right there.
Yeah. Well, a howler monkey has these air sacs, and the theory is here that, in fact, a lady who I interviewed just about a month or two ago, who was on the coast of California trying to take a picture of the sunset, and she's sitting on these rocks at the beach, and these two adolescents, two females, and a big male come walking along the beach, and he went out in the water and started pulling up seaweed, throwing it back to the females. They were doing something with it, but it just shocked her. She didn't know what she was looking at. She'd never heard about something like this. And she thought she'd take a picture, but she dropped the lens cover off her camera, and it fell down the rock.
Always the case. Oh.
That's Sasquatch Chronicles in episode 515, I think it was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Anyway, I heard about it, and I called Wes, who has that, and he gave me her contact, and so I interviewed her myself and talked to her for a long time via Zoom, and she revealed a lot of things to me that was really unique. One thing was, she said when the male heard her drop her lens cover and turn around and looked at her, he screamed, and he started coming towards her. The females stopped him, and they were chattering amongst themselves, and very much like, like the chattering that we've recorded, she said. But she hadn't heard it at that time, but Wes played it to her, and that's very similar to how they sounded. But she said their necks swelled out when his neck swelled out when they're screaming. And that is something, Jeff Melder mentioned this to me years ago, that maybe they have air sacs, and maybe that's what was going on up there with us, because the mic, like you say, that mic sounds like there's a hole in it,
Yeah, it does. It really does.
So close, but he wasn't that close. He wasn't. But they can throw their sound out and project it like that. And I think it's from the air sac. She said their neck just swelled out when he was screaming.
So in layman's terms, and I'm talking layman's here to just visualize it, is you picture a bullfrog, right? The bullfrog's got the big skin here.
Yeah,
but I'm saying a monkey on the other side. But I'm talking if you wanted to dumb it down as far as it goes, something like that, but on either side of the neck.
Yes,
which is pretty.
She drew me a picture of it and sent it to me, and yeah, she said it because its head was wet and its neck was, all its hair was wet. She said she could actually see its skin underneath.
Damn.
The hair was it was about 20 feet away. She said it got that close to her before she fainted. And she did faint, by the way.
That is an excellent episode of Sasquatch
she's so credible.
Chronicles.
What really set it into motion for me was she's a linguist. She's fluent in 7 different languages.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's a very credible individual.
I listened to that after we talked Friday. We went and listened to that, and it's amazing because the way she tells the story, I could picture the whole thing because she tells it very eloquently, and it's if you have a chance. What episode was that, Ron? Do you remember? 515. 515 Sasquatch Chronicles. All right. So
I encourage anybody to listen to it because. It really kind of cemented what Jeff was telling me years ago about maybe they got air sacs because I've always wondered, and we've always wondered, because it does sound like it's so clear, these recordings that we have of that. Al Berry actually recorded those. His mic was remoted about 40 feet up behind the shelter, wired. Obviously, that's all we had in those days was cassette recorders.
I mean, this is the 72. So.
And it sounded like the thing was holding on the mic, but it wasn't. It had to be behind one of those big trees or behind a boulder or something that was up there, which is several feet away.
Yeah, well, they're pushing a lot of air. You know, they're
so loud that it jars you. You know, they really can jar you. It was very. That's why that one guy wouldn't go back up. He still didn't go up there.
Well, let's play a clip. This is a clip I took from your Sierra Sounds, and I chose this one because it's got knocking, and then I think it might be spliced in that there is also. The chatter and you're talking back and forth. So let's just play this.
Well, hang on a second. Let's let Ron set this up. So
this. Let me do that. It was 1974. I think this is when you're going to play here with me interacting with them. Yep. Now they had previously only interacted with us or made their sounds when we go in the shelter, and you go outside and they wouldn't down anything because they don't want to be seen. Evidently. Anyway, we've been interacting with them since '71, and these sounds. In 71, 72 were very aggressive sounding, like they wanted to intimidate us, or we didn't know when they were chattering back and forth if they were talking about who's going to put salt and pepper on us or they're going to carry us away or what's going to happen. So just didn't know, but we're all sitting there with high-powered sidearms with us. And so anyway, that was 71.